I extend a warm welcome to all of you, those who are offline here and those who are watching us on YouTube. In this very interesting session, many a times we apply for an examination and we don't know what kind of job we are applying for. We just want to do something because society told us, right? But please understand, every job has got some job requirement, right? We would try to understand that job requirement today, which is one of the most sought after kind of career in India, right? But before I get into details of this topic, which is our topic of this first lecture, what do officers exactly do, right? We only have that kind of image where that car of an officer with some kind of siren above it. Media comes in front of you when you find a place in that list. Beyond that, we don't know anything as to exactly what do they do. So we will discuss in detail what kind of job we are looking up to, right? But before that, I would like to explain a little bit about that process which eventually takes you to that position. Before we talk about what kind of job it is, right? First thing is to get into that job. That is called recruitment. That is called recruitment, the way you are recruited, the way you are selected for that job, right? I would talk about the examination a bit, some important aspects of UPSC examination, right? And then we will go to that topic where we will discuss what kind of job it is. I will also talk about what all different uh, posts which are covered by this examination. This is one examination which opens gates for number of positions. I hope you know that. IAS, IPS, right? IFS, right? IAAS. So a number of positions, IRS, Customs, IRS, IT. I would talk about few of them briefly. It's not possible to cover all the services. There are multiple services, right? There are services in Railway Department. There are services in Ordnance Factory of Government of India, right? There are number of positions, but I would talk about a few of them, right? And then I would get into that thing, the core topic of this lecture. So let's first talk about what this examination is all about without wasting much time. So we would talk about these aspects, structure of the examination, though I know you know it. These days, there is a lot of information on internet, right? On YouTube and different other social media platforms. But I would like to explain structure of the examination in a little bit different way, right? That is one. Second, we would talk about competition level. Before you face competition, we need to understand what kind of competition it is and how tough, how easy it is, right? Then challenges, what challenges do you face when you prepare for UPSC examination? This would be a separate topic that is coming up your way, how to handle pressure, what kind of mindset is required. But I would briefly touch upon it. I will be brief here on this topic that will be dealt with later on by one of my colleagues, right? How to handle challenges. I would stick to the discussion of the examination and other things which are required, how to psychologically prepare, how to really face pressure, right? How to maintain your tempo, perseverance, right? Consistency, all those things will be discussed later on. I would keep myself to the examination and its structure. All of us know that this is the examination which is conducted in 3 stages, right? Prelims, mains, and personality test, right? These are 3 stages. Though popularly it is called interview. I would talk about that briefly later on, right? So probably this is the only examination that goes on for 1 year. So far, our idea of examination is we prepare for a particular examination throughout the year, and eventually we appear for that examination, which is conducted in a day, sometimes entrance test in a day, or sometimes in few days, 4 or 5 days, right? Probably this is the only examination which goes on for 1 year. So prelims somewhere in the month of May and sometimes in the June, right? Depending on situation. And mains somewhere in the August, September, right? And interviews in Feb, March. And by the time your result comes, the next prelim is right in front of you. And that's very interesting kind of challenge that you're supposed to face, right? If somebody comes out of interview out of the process rather, recruitment, right? That person doesn't have time to even think about what happened in terms of failure. You have to prepare for next prelims, right? That is the kind of examination this is, and you must be ready for that. I would tell you some examples as to how people have faced these kind of situations, right? And we have concrete examples. We have a long tradition of what success in UPSC examination right from 2006 up to present times, 20 years almost, right? It's not possible to bring that to a two decade experience in front of you in 2 hours, but wherever possible, I would share those stories of how people have handled this thing, right? So 3 stages. Preliminary examination consists of 2 papers, right? One paper is qualifying, that is called paper 2, which is also called CSAT, Civil Services. Aptitude, I'm briefly discussing structure because I'm assuming that most of us know, but still those who don't know, for them I am briefly talking about the structure of the examination. So CSAT paper is qualifying. You are supposed to earn how many marks? 33%, right? That is the cutoff for you, and fixed cutoff, it does not change. But in case of first paper, the cutoff is floating, in the sense how many candidates are required, right, to be shortlisted for mains, and how many appeared, and what is the performance. These are 3 factors which decide the cutoff. Every year it changes, right? But it's somewhere roughly 40 to 50%. So the best minds in India, right, competing for this examination, and the cutoff is somewhere between 40 to 50%. That also tells us what, how challenging this examination is, right? Okay, so preliminary examination is actually screening test. What does that mean? The score in the preliminary examination is not counted in the final list. It is merely screening test. So what does it screen? It screens out non-serious candidates. Are you getting this? There are many people who go for UPSC examination, or for that matter state PSC examinations, just for the sake of it. कुछ कर नहीं पाए लाइफ में तो ये करके देखते हैं. There was a time when there was no preliminary examination. Everybody could appear for mains. Do you know this? Long back in, I think, 60s, 50s and 60s after independence. Then UPSC realized that everybody is writing, right? And that to garbage. तो सबका पेपर चेक करो, उसके उसमें टाइम डालो. इससे अच्छा do one thing. Keep a screening test and eliminate those who are non-serious candidates. But many a times, serious candidates are also eliminated. And that is the game, right? And that's why UPSC gives you how many attempts? 6 attempts, right? There is something called bad luck. You were not well on that day. You couldn't apply your mind, right? Certain things went against you. So UPSC doesn't want to lose those candidates who are eligible but couldn't get through in one attempt. Are you getting this? So it is not a crime to get through in, say, 3rd attempt, 4th attempt, 5th attempt, 6th attempt. Please do not carry that pressure either from society or from parents or from anybody else. I know we also do that advertisement. It's part of business, right? IAS at 21. It has got advantages in the sense, if you enter this service quite early in your age, right, then there are chances that you could go to the highest position in terms of promotions. That is the only thing. But otherwise, these are fascinating services. Doesn't matter at what level you work, right? Do not pressurize yourself because of these kind of things. IAS at 21, right? At what age you become IAS really doesn't matter. But the moment you become IAS, that's a different story altogether. Altogether different career, sort of stardom that you enjoy, right? Okay. So there are 6 attempts. Do not curse yourself if you cannot get through in 1 attempt or 2nd attempt or 3rd attempt, right? There are many who have cracked this examination in 6th attempt, and they have been equally good, better kind of officers. We will talk about them, few examples, right? So screening test, roughly speaking, I would talk about this as well. Competition level. Um, don't have any kind of fear while I'm talking about competition now, right? Some 10 to 12 lakh people appear for this examination, and thereby this examination becomes toughest examination in India, right? And some people say that second toughest in the world, right? And some people call it mother of all examinations, right? All these things are of no use. इसको हटाओ दिमाग से. remove it, right? How people decide which examination is tougher, toughest? It is based on a ratio. Which ratio is that? Number of people applying for the examination and number of people who finally get selected. So that ratio is worst, and that's why toughest. But let me tell you one thing. As I said, many people appear for the examination just for the sake of it. They are not serious candidates, and that number is large. That number is very large, right? So if you ask me, the real competition every year is between some 20-25,000 candidates, not more than that, right? Those who qualify for the mains and those who were serious but couldn't qualify. Adding these two categories, I'm saying 20-25,000 students. That's why do not pay attention to number game. Never pay attention to number game. कितने appear हो रहे हैं, कितने होंगे. Forget that. You prepare seriously. Give yourself a very serious kind of chance for a career that is most sought after in India, right? इसको भूल जाओ. Second toughest, third सब mother of all. क्या करना है उसको? Why are you worried about it? Right? Mother of all examinations. All these people who create rhetorics are of no use. Right? So do not have any kind of fear about toughness of this examination. I fully understand the competition is high. There's no doubt about that, right? We have to face it, but there is competition every walk of life. You choose any career, there is competition these days. We cannot avoid it. And I don't want to be virus of three idiots, right? I don't want to sound like that. And neither I want ranchos here, right? Those are exceptional cases where everybody else is in rat race, but there are some who are genius, they go different way. But we are here to look for a career, right? A stable career. Genius होता तो इंसान कभी आइंस्टाइन बन जाता, वो अलग बात है. Those are very rare kind of cases. But others have to really compete. But who says that the geniuses don't compete? They also compete, but they outclass everyone, right? That is why you feel like there is no competition, because they are way above everybody else. But for us, those who are ordinary, you have to understand that we need to compete everywhere, in every walk of life, every field, right? So there is competition. It's a tough competition. There's no doubt about that. Probably toughest, but then not impossible, very much gettable. I must tell you, there are people who came from very ordinary background, right? I have seen some people making simple grammatical mistakes in the answer writing during mains period, and then they get through by improvising. So every ordinary fellow has got a fair chance in this examination. Are you getting this? This is one examination that does not charge you hefty amount of fees, right? And every person can get this examination. It's not a big deal, right? So only thing is right kind of mindset, right strategy, and your smart work. Smart work is hard work plus applying your mind smartly, right? That is required. And persistence means what? Sticking to what you have decided, not deviating from it, not backtracking from it. So all these things are required, and you can get through. What are the challenges? What makes this examination preparation quite tough? First of all, I told you, it's year-long process that tests your patience. And I generally have that analogy of cricket, right? So there used to be 5-day matches. And nowadays, 20 matches, right? 20 matches are the most bogus matches of international cricket. Nothing is tested in 2020 cricket. And those players who are stars of 2020, they are not even counted in the greatness of this game. Please try to understand this. That 2020 मैच, उसमें क्या होता है आप बताओ मुझे. बॉल कहीं भी लग जाए, बस चौका चौका छक्का जाना चाहिए. This does not work in test matches. Your technique has to be perfect. To stand there on the pitch for hours, that is where your class is tested. दो और खेलने के मिल रहे, इधर उधर मार दिया, 8 बॉल में 20 रन निकाले, क्या बात है, right? So this is a test match. You have to be prepared for a test in the sense testing your abilities, right? Month after month, वहां पे test match में session after session, right? So that is one challenge. You have to be physically, mentally ready for a long drawn kind of battle, right? 1 year का time period है जहां पे आपको fight करना, right? Secondly, the sheer scope of syllabus makes it challenging. In the sense, I generally say this to in every classroom, that syllabus of some 2-3 degrees clap together. Are you getting this? So ऐसा कौन सा डिग्री का कोर्स है बताओ? What kind of degree course there is in the educational field where you learn history, you learn social issues, you learn geography, Indian geography, world geography, right? Then you learn polity, constitution, right? Uh, uh, Government policies, laws, right? Government schemes, political issues, international relations, India's foreign policy, so to say, and then economic development, agriculture in India, right? Science and technology, environment ecology, internal security, disaster management, right? And to top it all, current affairs of all these things, right? And ये कम पड़ रहा था इसलिए यूपीएससी ने पेपर 4 डाल दिया. Paper 4, ethics and integrity, number of ideas, concepts, theories of ethics and integrity, thinkers and case studies. तो ये भी कम पड़ रहा था इसलिए एक ऑप्शनल दे दिया आपको. So no doubt it is challenging, right? But over a period of time, you develop that hold over the syllabus, and you realize at some point of time that it is interconnected. It is very much interconnected, right? When you learn world history, right, you can understand international relations in a better manner. एक example के तौर पर, when you learn economics, you can understand history in a better manner. If my understanding of economics is good, I can understand the economic drain theory put forth by Dadabhai Naoroji, Justice Ranade. ये थोड़ा सा आपको एग्जांपल में दे रहा हूं ना. You may feel like alien kind of examples because we have studied all of this in your schooling, but we have forgot them, completely forgotten, right? Every year we pass an examination, and whatever was taught in that year is flushed out of your brain, because we have that methodology where when examination is approaching, right, we try to put everything on our hard disk. So this is your hard disk, right, where everything is put, and then you put that everything on the paper, that is your answer sheet, and the moment that is done, you delete it. And some of us shift delete that so that it should not be found in the recycle bin as well. And some are way smarter than others. They format their heads. They do formatting. And such formatted heads come in UPSC classrooms. Getting this? Please understand, syllabus is vast, not deep. People say that those who pass UPSC examination, they are brilliant, right? This is an absolute lie. सबसे बड़ा झूठ है ये. That means nobody understand what is brilliance. Brilliant कौन होता है पता है क्या आपको? I told you, Albert Einstein, brilliant है, right? Homi J. Bhabha, brilliant. Brilliant are those who do something new in a particular discipline, science ho, social science ho, any subject. They are called brilliant people, right? These are clever people. Tell me one thing, what syllabus do we have? History of India, geography, right? ऐसा कुछ है क्या? How to manufacture rocket? How to launch rocket? Huh? Can you bring some kind of breakthrough in stem cell technology? Anything like that? Can you come up with an AI engine? कौन सा तीर मार रहे हो? कुछ भी नहीं. ना यहाँ पे ना जॉब में. It's more about the kind of job it is, right? It is fascinating, powerful. That makes it one of the most sought after jobs. समझ में आ रहा है क्या आपको? तो ये सिलेबस ऐसा फैला हुआ है. That is a challenge, उसको समेटना. To get hold of that syllabus, right? But then don't worry, it is not deeper kind of syllabus, except one part, optional subject, right? That is where depth is tested to some extent, not to the level of research, but to some extent, understanding of a particular subject in a deeper manner. Otherwise, GS syllabus is vast but not deep. So that also can be handled. It's not a big deal. कोई बड़ा challenge नहीं है वो, इस बात को समझो, right? So there are challenges and challenges can be handled, right? We can talk a lot about other things of UPSC examination, but I'm keeping it brief, very brief. So preliminary examination, screening है, उसके बाद mains examination. Let's talk about structure of mains examination briefly. How many papers are there? There are 9 papers, out of which 2 are again qualifying. One language, regional language, right? And English. And in both these papers, how much you are supposed to score? How much you are supposed to score? 25%. कितना? That's it. आसान है ना? Easy, right? अरे up to 10th 12th passing mark कितना था? What is the passing mark? 35, right? Engineering में 40. But यहाँ पे कितना बोला गया? 25%. 300 marks का पेपर रहेगा and you have to score 25 plus. That's it. And anything that you score about 25%, it is not counted in the final list. That is what is called qualifying. Rest 7 papers are very important, the crux of the examination, which decides your fit in the examination, where you land up eventually in the list, right? Those 7 papers decide your fit. Which are those? 4 GS papers, GS 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Essay 5, and 2 optional papers, paper 1, paper 2. Marks earned in these papers are counted for the final list, right? I briefly talked about what subjects are there in GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 while discussing challenges, right? Once you earn those many marks which are above the mains cutoff, again, that is floating kind of cutoff, every year it changes, right, based on competition. Then you qualify for what is called personality test by UPSC examination. What do they check in personality test, right? They try to assess whether the person that is coming in the interview hall, right, his personality, her personality, whether it is eligible for public administration or not. And that is why it is very important to understand what is public administration, what kind of job we are applying for. Because do you agree to one question that I'm raising right now, right? It's a kind of yes, no type question, right? Where the answer is quite obvious. Can we build personality in some days? In a few months, 1, 2 months? It's a long process, right? And that's why your interview preparation begins now. And this is the first lecture. Getting this? The kind of discussion that we are going to hold now, after I complete this topic, right? That is the beginning of your preparation for interviews. Personality requires years for that matter, right? Sometimes 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. You can definitely make many important amends in your personality in 6 months, 8 months, maybe, if you are learning that fast. But at least 1, 2 years, and that much preparation is required for UPSC examination. Number 1. Number 2, when you read syllabus or the topics which are given in the syllabus, you imbibe them, you make part of your personality, right? So gradually your personality becomes that personality which is suitable for administrative job. Are you getting this? So syllabus itself would tell you what is required. And I would discuss that, don't worry, right? So gradually the personality is to be shaped right from day 1, and consciously. Consciously means what? Knowingly. Telling oneself that I have to prepare my personality suitable to what? Administrative job. We will talk more about that because that is the core topic of this lecture, right? So personality test. They test whether the person is suitable for administrative job or not, right? What qualities are required, what all things are required in a personality. I would talk about all those qualities at the end of the lecture. That is one important topic that is which we are going to cover. Having briefly talked about structure of the examination, competition level challenges, and how to handle challenges, let's now move forward and talk about services, right? What is public administration in simplest terms? In simplest possible terms, right? It is an organ of the government, right, that actually implements policies. Now the question is, what are policies, right? A policy is a set of actions that you intend to really execute. Set of decisions, actions, right, that you want to execute. जो आप करना चाहते हो, that is policy when you become government, right? So who forms the government? Those who are elected by the people. Those who are elected by the people, they are the one who formulate policy. To formulate, to make policies, right? For example, एक example लेते हैं. So in India, there is malnutrition among children, right? I hope everybody knows that, right? And there are many other problems. How many of you know that 50% women in India are anemic? Many of you are thinking, what is anemic? They don't have enough nutrients in their blood circulation, right? And that is going to impact whole next generation. And that is why government came up with a policy. Government came up with a policy. कौन सा policy? ICDS. What is it? Integrated Child Development Scheme. Integrated Child Development Scheme. कितना बड़ा लगता है नहीं? ICDS कुछ नहीं, आंगनवाड़ी है. Please understand, the formal language looks heavy, but when you want to understand, look in reality, look in practice, you would understand what it is, right? आंगनवाड़ी का रजिस्टर खोल के देखो, you would understand what is ICDS. That register consists of names in a ward, right, of those who are under 5, children who are under 5, and pregnant women and lactating women. So to take care of both mother and child. जब बच्चा पेट में मां के, तब से न्यूट्रिशन शुरू होना चाहिए. The nutrition has to begin from that point. That's why pregnant women, lactating women, जब बच्चा मदर के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है फॉर फीडिंग, राइट, तो वहां पे न्यूट्रिशन. एंड देन जब बच्चा इंडिपेंडेंट होता है तो उसका जो अपब्रिंगिंग है न्यूट्रिशनल along with some education. So ICDS. In order to solve problems of society, government comes up with policies, and these policies are formulated, made by the government, but then implemented by what is called public administration. Public administration. And public administration has got different wings. It has got civil services, it has got judicial services, military services. These are all part of administration, please understand. But to narrow down the focus, because we are here for civil services, we would talk about civil services only. Are you getting this? There are other services as well under government, but we are here for UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, particularly civil services. UPSC also conducts examination for different other government posts, but we are concerned about these services. So when you say civil services, again there are three types. There are three types, which are those all India services, then central services, and state service. Let us briefly try and understand what do they do exactly. All India services are IAS, Indian Administrative Service, and everybody wants to join this service because people are ignorant about other services, and there's a craze about something. I would talk about that, right? You know. Then there is IPS. इसको यहाँ पे पुलिस क्यों लिखा है मैंने? क्योंकि एक और IPS है, that is postal. Right. So IPS, IFS, उसको IFOS भी बोलते हैं, right? लेकिन मुझे जगह बचानी थी in the PPT, right? So Indian Forest Service, Indian Forest Service. These are all India services. That means you can be posted anywhere across India, and you serve under states, but you belong to all India service. You may get an order to change your cadre as well, right? Central services, IFS, Indian Foreign Service, IAAS, Accounts and Audit, IRS दो है, Indian Revenue Service, Customs and IT, Income Tax, right? Then Indian Postal Service, etc. Let's talk about them briefly, right? The most sought after service, ये जो है IAS करता क्या रही है? We would talk more about that when we go forward, right? But briefly, they are in charge of district in terms of administration. So district head, right? And district again has got two administrations. District has got two administrations, urban and rural. Revenue administration, developmental administration. Are you getting this? So in all these positions, right, which are positions of head at the district level, IAS officers are appointed. What positions are those? So for example, revenue service की बात करेंगे तो collector, right? So collector and district magistrate, एक ही position है वो, right? है ना? And there is another position, right? Commissioner in a municipality. Municipal commissioner, right? Urban development. And there is one more position at the district level. What is that? CEO, Chief Executive Officer, who looks after rural development in a district. All these positions are important, but people only attach importance to डीएम बनना है सर, डीएम बनना है. दुखी आत्मा मरते दम तक दुखी रहता है, पता है क्या आपको? राइट. आई टेल दिस इन एवरी क्लासरूम दैट एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग स्टेटमेंट है. इंसान की चिंता चिता के साथ ही खत्म होती है. राइट नाउ आपकी चिंता क्या है? व्हाट इज योर कंसर्न? योर कंसर्न इज वेदर आई विल गेट थ्रू दिस एग्जामिनेशन और नॉट. बट वंस यू गेट थ्रू दिस एग्जामिनेशन, इवन इफ यू गेट AIR1, यू स्टिल हैव दैट थिंग इन योर माइंड. केडर कौन सा मिलेगा? चिंता, कंसर्न. राइट. केडर जो चाहिए वो मिला, महाराष्ट्र होम केडर. राइट है ना. अभी भी चिंता है, महाराष्ट्र मिला ठीक है, गडचिरोली भेज दिया तो पुणे, मुंबई, ठाणे, वेस्टर्न महाराष्ट्र. कंसर्न खत्म नहीं होता. ओके, यू आर पोस्टेड इन पुणे और सीईओ बना दिया. सीईओ बना दिया, डीएम कब बनूंगा? आर यू गेटिंग दिस? दिस इज एंडलेस. और डीएम बनने के बाद आपको क्या लगता है, आप खुश रहोगे? कितने साल का टेन्योर मिलेगा डीएम का? फिर से ट्रांसफर कर दिया तो? आर यू गेटिंग दिस? और जब खत्म होता है डीएम का टेन्योर, यू आर प्रमोटेड, you are unhappy. Government people are sometimes unhappy because of promotion, because they enjoy this field job. The moment they are promoted, they feel like ये तो मतलब एक scribe का job हो गया, clerk का. Very interesting kind of, that everything ends with चिता. और भी बहुत कुछ है, मैं उसमें नहीं जा रहा. राइट. डीएम बना, सब बना, शादी, मैरिज, राइट पर्सन मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, है ना. फिर बच्चे होंगे नहीं होंगे, और हो गए तो अच्छे निकलेंगे नहीं निकलेंगे, वो उनका करियर. मैं आईएएस हूं, वो भी आईएएस बनना चाहिए, नहीं बना तो क्या? एंडलेस है वो. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, these things are endless. You go one step at a time, number one, and do not find satisfaction in your career. Satisfaction lies inside. Satisfaction lies inside. Otherwise, an IAS officer would not have committed suicide in Bangalore. Right? I hope you understand that. Right? Okay. So, ये सभी चाहते हैं, तो ये सब काम है, उसके अलग अलग पोजीशंस है. I would talk more about that. Right? IPS, Indian Police Service. Some people are crazy about this post, right? Because of some Bollywood movies. Anyways, what is the work of IPS? In short, law and order. Law and order, right? To see that law and order is maintained in the district, right? They are responsible for it. To handle those problems which pose a threat to law and order, right? And also that which is called internal security in paper 3. All these things come under IPS officer, right? Policing जिसको बोलते हैं, policing, law and order, right? IFS, forest cover is very important, and there are number of laws, international as well as Indian laws, which are applicable to forest, and they are the one who are supposed to take care of forest, look after forest, maintain the forest, right? Again, very important post. जंगल में रहना पड़ता है ऐसा मत सोचो. These are very vital posts, right? Okay. So IAS, IPS, IFS, or India services. There is one service among central services which people don't understand significance of. People give less importance to other services like IAS, IPS. That I understand sometimes, right? But people give a lot of importance to IRS, and people don't give importance to IFS. Why? Because everybody says that I'm here to serve the country, but everybody is here to serve oneself. I know why people choose IRS. आप बताओ, can anybody tell me? देश की सेवा करने के लिए आया हूं सर यहाँ पे. अरे छोड़ भाई, तू बस मनी भाई की सेवा करने के लिए आया. Because it is related to taxation, revenue. Those who really want to serve the country, they would really prefer this one as well. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि बाकी सब आप प्रेफर नहीं कर सकते. ये क्या है आपको अंदाजा नहीं है. I'll give you one example, right? आपने नाम सुना है क्या, देवयानी खोबरागड़े? Maybe not, right? Indian diplomat, IFS officer, posted in US. कहाँ posting? US. Okay, tell me one thing. If you're an IAS officer, you're arrested, तो क्या होगा? court case hoga, right? Will government put entire weight behind you? No. Now look at this case. Dnyaneshwar Khobragade was arrested by US, and according to Vienna Convention, which is international law, right? Diplomats are not touched by the host country. वो कुछ गलत भी करते हैं, if they do something wrong, they must be sent back to the home country. The host country cannot take action against diplomat. That is the basic principle of international relations, right? But she was arrested. The charge was she has violated US laws, particularly of payment to the maid. US में क्या है कि सभी को minimum payment मिलना चाहिए. People say that minimum wages is a socialist kind of measure, but capitalist US has got it. Everybody is entitled to some minimum wages, which is required to live a dignified life, right? So she was underpaid. The maid of Dnyaneshwar Khobragade was underpaid by Dnyaneshwar, right? So that's why she was arrested, right? ये गलत था वैसे, उसको वापस भेज दो ना. At the most you can do that under Vienna Convention, right? So India protested, and entire power of India was put behind one person. Insult of an IAS officer is not insult of that person, it is insult of entire nation. आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि you represent your country as if you are the nation. आपको अंदाजा नहीं है इसका पावर क्या है. What people want, I know. They want to pass examination. They want to show that people that are passed. See, I'm IAS दिख रहा हूं ना सामने. IFS को बाहर पोस्टिंग मिलती है, तो लोग भी बोलते पास हुआ, बोला था, दिखता नहीं, शायद दुबई गया काम करने के लिए. You have that kind of mindset. You don't want to serve the country. Change that mindset as early as possible, right? And I must tell you, at the end of the life of this career, your contact list is the most powerful contact list. आपकी कॉन्टैक्ट लिस्ट में कौन आएगा पता है क्या आपको? दुनिया भर के देशों के बेस्ट डिप्लोमैट्स एंड लीडर्स in your contact list, right? So this is one service people don't know much about. I'm not pushing you to prefer this service. My intention is you should go for informed choice. While making choice, you should know about everything that is in front of you. That is the only purpose of this discussion, right? This is account and audit. Accounting और auditing जानते हो ना? Accounting, auditing of the government. उसके लिए सर्विस. IRS for revenue, इसमें दो है, इनकम टैक्स एंड कस्टम्स. कस्टम क्या होता है? इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी, इन शॉर्ट, राइट? सो दीज आर IRS services. Then IPS, Indian Postal Service. There was a time when post office was very important and people used to literally wait for the letters. I don't think you have written letter ever in your life except in the examination, because you are living in the world of what? Emails and short messages and WhatsApp, digital kind of world, right? But this was a very important department earlier. Now what has happened, most of the countries have converted their postal departments into small banks. Numerous saving schemes, right? Giving some kind of aid to the people who are needy at the grassroots level. So that's why this service is very important from the perspective of what? Development of people, right? Okay. So briefly, I talked about these services. State services of any state recruit people who work under these services. Getting this? So at the state level, so up to deputy collector, state services can be seen, right? Deputy collector, DCs को बोलते हैं, तहसीलदार, right? Deputy तहसीलदार, BDO, block development officer, वगैरह वगैरह. Number of services are there in what is called state services, right? And this is not our concern, right? So I am skipping it there. Okay. Having talked about services, let us now talk about the core topic. What is the purpose of civil services, right? And three distinct points. First, policy implementation. Second, problem solving. Third, effective supervision. Please understand, government of any country has got three wings. What are those? Legislature, executive, and Judiciary. So, judiciary. Where do we see administration here? Under every wing. Under every wing. But the administration that we're talking about primarily sits here below executive. Parliament has got its administrative bodies, secretariat बोलते हैं उसको, parliament का secretariat. But right from the center up to the bottom villages, right, the administration that works is this one, right? Okay. Now, what is the work of these three wings of government? So, policy formulation कौन करता है? Legislature in theory, ठीक है? Executive policy execution to get it implemented. Actual में implementation कौन करता है? Administration. So implementation, right? And judiciary policy का adjudication. क्या मतलब है इसका? If some disputes arise out of policy implementation, right, even formulation for that matter, if somebody says that the policy is formulated not according to constitution, that case will go to court, right? Or some kind of dispute arising out of a policy implementation, that goes to the court, right? So these are the works of different organs of the government. Then what role administration play? Before that, understand that we have a parliamentary democracy. We don't have presidential democracy of the type that can be seen in US, United States of America, where executive is completely different and legislature is completely different. In our country, executive is very much part of legislature. Executive क्या है? Council of Ministry. Council of Ministers, ministry बोलते हैं उसको, right? That is executive. And in order to be minister, you must be member of either house of the parliament. That is the basic requirement. That means ministers are very much members of legislature, and minister वो बनते हैं जिनके पार्टी का majority होता है in parliament. Those members become minister whose party enjoys majority in the legislature. That means actual policy formation कौन करता है? But obviously, whatever they decide is to be passed in the legislature. Sometimes it becomes difficult. देख रहे हो ना? Sometimes it becomes difficult if they don't have magic number. आपके पास simple majority है, but you don't have special majority. Then delimitation bill के लिए कुछ करना पड़ता है. Right now, government is struggling hard. Once government was defeated on delimitation bill because they don't enjoy 2/3 majority. समझ में आ रहा है क्या आपको? So mostly it is executive, but the final right is with legislature. Once it is passed, it becomes policy. So now executive में जो लोग हैं, those who are sitting in the executive, do they have knowledge of policies always? Are you getting this? You know, we choose people as our leaders, political leaders, but how many of them really do understand what is policy? What is policy making? Many a times you see people who are in a particular position, say for example, finance minister, and that person doesn't know anything about finance. This is possible, right? In a democracy, right? Example, yeah, hypothetical. Do not connect anywhere. Do not connect anywhere. And that is okay. Why it is okay? You cannot be expert of everything, right? As a minister, my job is to get the things done. If I become, say for example, finance minister, and my background is of engineering, ठीक है? तो मेरा काम क्या होना चाहिए? I should consult the best minds in economics while formulating the policy. Are you getting this? Secondly, I should consult them who have vast experience of working in the administration. And who are they? Senior officers. So though the primary work of administrators or civil servants is policy implementation, they also play a role in actual policy formulation. To solve a particular problem, what kind of policy we are supposed to have, they have really good say in that process as well. So they play a role in policy formulation as well. Imagine this, देश के policy decide करने में आपका कहीं ना कहीं participation होगा. आप decide करोगे many a times if you reach to that level, secretary level in central government. Are you getting this? और वहां से मंत्री बनने का भी चांस है, एस जयशंकर टाइप। बीजेपी के एक फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हुआ करते वाजपेयी के समय, यशवंत सिन्हा। ये कौन है पता है क्या आपको? एक्स आईएएस ऑफिसर। सो इट इज दैट करियर विच कैन टेक यू एनीवेयर। दुनिया के सारे करियर एक तरफ, आई एम टेलिंग यू, राइट? बट दिस इज व्हाट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट फैसिनेट्स मेनी पीपल, राइट? उसका अलग ही है, इट्स ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट। आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर सम थिंग्स विद यू, राइट? एंड यू विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ करियर यू आर गोइंग टू हैव द डे यू पास दिस एग्जामिनेशन। उसके बाद आप सेलिब्रिटी हो, पता है क्या? बाकी लोगों को सेलिब्रिटी बनने के लिए पूरा लाइफ डालना पड़ता है। शाहरुख खान को सीरीज में काम करना पड़ा, पता है क्या आपको? कोई जानता भी नहीं था उसको, उसका आधा लाइफ चला गया तब जाके स्टार बना वो, 30s में, 40s में। और यहाँ पे एट द एज ऑफ 21 स्टार बन रहा है कोई, राइट? दैट आंसर शेख बिकेम phenomenon, right? अरे फॉर अस आंसर शेख इज जस्ट अनदर गाय in the classroom, but from that day suddenly, and that phrase IAS at 21, आप अपना इंटरनेट ओपन करो, गूगल पे डाल दो यंगेस्ट IAS इन इंडिया, चेक कर लो, एंड ही इज अवर स्टूडेंट। बोस्ट नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं, आई एम नॉट सेल्फ बोस्टिंग, राइट? और वो हमारा सक्सेस नहीं, वो उसका है। वी ओनली प्लेड द रोल ऑफ कैटलिस्ट। आर यू गेटिंग दिस? हमने बस कैटलिस्ट का रोल प्ले किया। वी आर नॉट क्लेमिंग द क्रेडिट ऑफ हिज सक्सेस, वो उसका हार्डवर्क है, इट इज हिज हार्डवर्क, राइट? The point is, but that's very interesting, right? Youngest IAS officer in the entire independent history of India, Ansar Sheikh. वो चेक कर रहा है, चेक कर ले भाई। You check it. और मैं चाहता हूं कि वेरीफाई करो, and that is the best trait to have. If somebody says something, you must verify it. ये भी मेरे टीचिंग का हिस्सा है। Do not blindly believe anyone, including, आदत लगाओ इस बात की, वेरीफाई थिंग्स, और ये आपको हेल्प करेगा इधर भी इन सर्विस। यू वोंट बी मिसलेड बाय समबडीज erroneous advice, right? Okay, so this is the structure, and you are policy implementer as well as sometimes one who formulates policies. Clear, right? What is problem solving? See, once you come up with a policy, that does not mean everything has been solved. When you implement policy, you face lots of problems. Do you know that one of the flagship schemes of central government has been Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? And what is being done under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan? Toilets are being constructed, and we want to be open defecation free. We want to be open defecation free, right? So while implementing this policy, one problem that administrators faced, policy बनाया रे मंत्री ने, दे दिया आपको, नीचे क्या चल रहा है उनको क्या पता? All those problems are faced by you. क्या क्या problems है पता है क्या आपको? Number one, toilets require flush. So that much amount of water is required where already we are facing water crisis. So what can be done? So what is required while implementing the policy, right? Apart from that, टॉयलेट तो बन गया, कोई यूज नहीं कर रहा है, बोलते हैं होती नहीं, भारी होता है। So one challenge is to change the habits of people, and that's very difficult task, right? And that happens gradually over a period of time, right? So we need to understand this. There are challenges when you implement a particular policy. So another rule is problem solving, and sometimes problems arise not because of policy, because of other things as well. कहीं पे राइट चल रहा है, आपको पता है क्या? वॉट एवर हैपेंस इन डिस्ट्रिक्ट, पहला कॉल आता है कलेक्टर को, उसके ऊपर के लोगों का, सेक्रेटरी, कभी कभी मिनिस्टर डायरेक्टली। सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक COVID-19 pandemic, everybody knows, right? Everyone knows COVID-19 pandemic, right? But before that, there was one more epidemic which hit Pune very hard, right? And that was swine flu. स्वाइन फ्लू हो, या फिर बहुत बारिश हुई, बाढ़ आया, या फिर क्या है, COVID-19 पैंडेमिक टाइप कुछ हो गया, पहला फोन जाता है किसको? कलेक्टर को। और पहला सवाल उसी को पूछा जाता है मीडिया की तरफ से, क्या चल रहा है सर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, राइट? ऊपर से फोन आया ना, क्या चल रहा है, आपने नहीं बोलना अभी चाय पिया तब ठीक है। You need to tell them the update on what is happening in detail, or at least say कि sir I'm handling the things within an hour, I'll report you. You are the kingpin of that entire district. आपको पावर दिखता है And many of us look at that car, right? जिसके ऊपर एक सायरन है, वो जा रहा है, you feel like wow, कितना एंजॉय करता होगा. अरे उसको पता भी नहीं ऊपर क्या है. The one who is sitting inside, वो इतना प्रेशर में काम के है, is like into something. आप देखो कभी कभी इन लोगों को, उनको पता भी नहीं था कौन देख रहा है मुझे, क्या चल रहा है. फाइल्स होते हैं अंदर, फोन्स आते हैं, right? It is that kind of work. So focus on that. And those of you who are thinking इतना काम है क्या सर, मुझे लगा आराम है, तो आपका कहीं पे कुछ नहीं होना है, right? You are losers, bound to be losers. What do you think? गवर्नमेंट में काम है, बाहर नहीं है क्या? And fortunately, to put that experience in front of you, I have worked in the private industry for 5 years. ठीक? And I'm telling you, government में, if you do your work, you are excellent. By merely doing your work, you are excellent. But in private industry, you have to be best to be excellent. काम सभी करते हैं प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्री में. बेस्ट बनने के लिए सही में कुछ आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स करना पड़ता है. इधर क्या है, यू डू योर जॉब एंड योर बेस्ट, वो भी बहुत है. That also is very challenging, right? I would talk about again what kind of job it is. We would talk more about it, but first let's look at the purpose of this service. So policy implementation, problem solving, and what an IAS officer does, what an IPS officer does, right? Primarily supervision, IFS officer sabhi. They are recruited at the higher level and they have a whole team under them handling different departments, right? There is education department, there is PWD, उसका नाम PCD होना चाहिए, पब्लिक करप्शन डिपार्टमेंट, राइट? मजाक कर रहा हूं. पब्लिक वर्क्स डिपार्टमेंट, राइट? MSCB के लोग हैं, वो भी गवर्नमेंट. ये पता है आपको, कहीं पे पावर आउटेज हुआ और लंबे समय के लिए हुआ तो फिर अगेन द डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर हैज टू रियली लुक इनटू इट, राइट? बहुत सारी चीजें, एजुकेशनल डिपार्टमेंट है, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट है आपके अंडर. So all these things come under you. So one important task is effective supervision. एक डिपार्टमेंट का सुपरविजन वो आसान है, and you have multiple departments, and please understand all those departments are headed by experts of that field, and you are not expert, you are generalist. You know everything about all departments. Sorry, you know some things about all departments, and don't they know everything about their department. They can manipulate you, right? PWD would be headed by a civil engineer, qualified civil engineer, that too after competing in the examination, right? And health department would be headed by a qualified doctor. And education department would be headed by an educational educationist, I would say, one who has done his PG or something like that education. Are you getting this? They're experts. So you need to understand what they say and supervise them. So that requires what? Knowledge of their field to some extent to get them work, right? And to get that work done from them, right? So yes, effective supervision, and that is why the syllabus is vast. It is requirement of the job. समझ में आ रहा है? So these are the primary purposes of civil services. Let's move to the next topic. Responsibility. What is responsibility and why that responsibility is entrusted to civil servant or public servant, right? First, to ensure we can conduct one separate lecture on this topic, but I'm not going to do that, right? This is not the time, right? What is good governance? In short, a government that is effective, efficient, right? Accountable, having integrity, honesty. You are like, kahan milega, sir? Milega. Don't worry, right? We don't live in heaven. There would be faults, right? But we want to make it as good as possible. That is called good governance. And most importantly, good governance is that governance which works for the people, right? That is called good governance. और इसकी काफी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी किसके ऊपर है? A large portion of responsibility lies on implementers. Anything becomes good only when it is implemented, right? अरे मैं ना 60 सेंचुरीज मारना चाहता हूं वनडे इंटरनेशनल में. Does that make me best in the world? Aren't you getting the question? I want to score some 60 centuries. I want to break the record of Virat Kohli. डज दैट मेक मी ग्रेट? नो, जब मैं अचीव करूंगा तब ग्रेट होऊंगा, राइट? सो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट? implementation. So good governance is good governance only when it is implemented. Who are the implementers? Administration. So good governance lies on, to a large extent, how the implementers implement the policies. That is very important responsibility on the shoulders of public servants. Second, public welfare. You need to work for the people, for their betterment. That is called public welfare. You talk about everything that the administration does. The core point is this: public welfare, ki private welfare. अगर ये बात है कि you are going to be public servant, you are going for the examination conducted by Union Private Service Commission, Public Service Commission, right? And you are supposed to do public welfare. तो आपका पर्सनैलिटी वैसा होना चाहिए. Sometimes the question will be asked to judge this in the interview. So for example, उनके सामने आपका डैप होता है, मतलब पूरी कुंडली, डिटेल्ड एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म, आपका एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड, फैमिली बैकग्राउंड, एवरीथिंग इज देयर, राइट? What you have done so far in your life, hobbies, everything. They would ask you one innocent question, right? What are your views on reservation policy? ये सवाल ये जानने के लिए नहीं पूछा है कि आपका सजेशन क्या है, राइट? या फिर वेदर यू नो द पॉलिसी और नॉट. दे आर ट्राइंग टू सी कि आपका आंसर खुद को सेंटर पे रख के है या पब्लिक वेलफेयर को. सपोज आई बिलोंग टू अपर कास्ट एंड आई एम अगेंस्ट रिजर्वेशन बिकॉज ऑफ माई ओन प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? I couldn't get a seat of what's a medical or engineering or anything like that because of reservation. तो फिर मैंने यूपीएससी दिया और वहां पे इंटरव्यू पहुंच गया. If I say that it's very bad system, sir, we must get rid of it, they'll get rid of you because it is not public, sorry, private service commission, right? If I belong to so-called lower caste, so-called ना, कोई upper lower caste का इंसान नहीं होता, so-called, जो बहुत एक बुरी सिस्टम है हमारे यहाँ पे, right? And I reached there using reservation, which is perfectly justified according to law, right? And if the question is asked about reservation, और मेरे चेहरे पे जो खुशी आ गई उसकी वजह से, ठीक, must be there, sir. तो ये सारे जो रिएक्शंस है, this indicate that this person is not fit for not fit for public service. Your answer should be based on the larger welfare of the people, right? ये आपकी responsibility होगी, and that's why that kind of personality you're supposed to develop from day one, right? Then effective delivery of government schemes, services. अभी मैंने स्वच्छ भारत अभियान की बात की, right? We talked about ICDS. There are n number of services, sorry, schemes, both by central government and state government. इन दोनों को implement करने का जिम्मा किसका है? Whose responsibility is that? Administration, public servants, right? So the responsibility is effective delivery of government schemes and services. मैं उसमें नहीं जाना चाहता, corruption and all that, right? Because that is one aspect of administration which we need to improve like anything. I don't understand why people go corrupt. You may say that आपको चांस नहीं मिला इसलिए बोल रहे. नहीं, बात करते ना उसके ऊपर. हमारे कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, right? The kind of perks, facilities IAS officers, IPS officers get throughout the life, उनका पूरा life secure, चाहे दुनिया में जो हो जाए. For example, that war going on in Iran, right? And we were hit badly in terms of gas prices, in terms of पेट्रोल डीजल प्राइसेस. इसको क्या करना है एस ऑफिसर को? चाहे जितना बढ़ना है बढ़ने दो, गवर्नमेंट डालने वाला है पेट्रोल की कार में, कार भी तो गवर्नमेंट की है, सब कुछ दिया हुआ है आपको, फिर भी खाना चाहते, भस्म डालेगा, मराठी में बोलते ना, राइट? यू आर रॉटन फ्रॉम विद इन, राइट? एंड अंडरस्टैंड दिस. मैं कहां करप्शन कर रहा हूं, ठीक है? पीडीएस में, पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम, जो सबसे गरीब इंसान को जाने वाला खाना उसमें, राइट? आईसीडीएस में जो बच्चों के काम आएगा, किसका किसका पेट मारोगे? जबकि एवरीथिंग इज गिवन टू यू, राइट? बंगला, गाड़ी, नौकर चाकर, सब कुछ दिया आपको. क्या क्या चाहिए और व्हाट एल्स यू वांट? 7 पीढ़ियां बैठ के खाएंगे, इतना कमाना चाहता हूं सर। दिस इज ए प्लान टू लिटरली डिस्ट्रॉय 7 generations. वो बैठ के खाएंगे मतलब आलसी होंगे, होपलेस होंगे, एक दिन सब खत्म कर, एक पीढ़ी में खत्म हो जाएगा। इमेजिन दिस। 7 पीढ़ियां बैठ के खाएंगी, इतना कमाया, फिर उसको पोर्श नाम की कार दी, उसने किसी को उड़ाया कल्याण नगर में, पूरी फैमिली जेल में। बैठ के खाओ 7 पीढ़ियां। बच्चों को पैसा नहीं, वैल्यूज दो, काबिलियत दो। और एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग फिल्मी डायलॉग है, राइट? पूत सपूत तो क्यों कमाना, पूत कपूत तो क्यों कमाना। इफ योर चाइल्ड इज एबल, that child would earn for herself himself. If your child is not able, right, doesn't matter how much you earn, that child will finish everything. So it's hopeless kind of idea that I would earn money for the next generation, right? That is endless kind of greed, eating into those things which are going to serve this country, right? That is the biggest blot that anybody can have, right? So effective delivery of government schemes and services, that is the responsibility of public servants in general, right? So now let's talk about day-to-day work. ये तो general हो गया ना, बड़ा policy formulation, implementation, responsibilities, all that. What an officer does in day-to-day work, जब वो निकलता है घर से and goes to the office, what all things are there on his her plate? First, public grievance redressal. One thing that you're supposed to do day in and day out, every day, is this one, because administration serves people at large, and needs, aspirations, problems, concerns of people are unlimited. Are you getting my sentences? Needs, concerns, aspirations of people are unlimited, and resources at your disposal are limited. Right? There is no match. There would be a number of issues, number of problems, number of disputes you are supposed to address. Grievances बहुत होंगे, n number of grievances, and you have to deal with those grievances. So first and important task is public grievance redressal, right? Dusra, do you know many times these IAS officers do not pick the phones. Most of people think that ये लोग ना रौब झाड़ते हैं, right? They ignore us. उनको टाइम कहाँ मिलता है? वो किसका फोन लेते किसका नहीं लेते, उनकी बीवियों को पूछो या फिर उनके हस्बैंड्स को। दे वुड टेल यू कि मेरा भी नहीं उठा था, नहीं उठा दी। The busy people, right? Please understand, they have to attend meetings after meetings many a times, and in between they have to also do all the other things in a day, right? There are number of meetings with different stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? People. सबसे पहले क्या है? People. Then representatives of the people, ministers, MPs, MLAs. Then different other departments, उसके लोग, right? Some experts, contractors execute करेंगे. Number of people are stakeholders. तो उनके साथ meetings. So meetings with stakeholders. For example, a road is to be built in your district, उसका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देना है, तो आपकी मीटिंग किसके साथ होगी? कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स के साथ, राइट? आपका टेंडर क्या है, मेरे पास कौन से ऑप्शंस हैं, आपका आज तक का काम कैसा रहा, उसको स्टडी करना, उनसे बात करना, एंड देन डिसाइडिंग whom to award the contract. Getting this? So meetings with stakeholders. Then field inspections. Many a times when you have somebody working in the administration, doesn't matter central only, but even state administration, right? When you call them, they pick up the call, they say field पे हूँ, बाद में बात करता हूँ. I'm on field, I'll talk to you later. What does that mean? It's not that they have to sit in their cabin always. They have to visit different works, inspect the work, and sometimes be on field to solve a problem, right? एक mob आया है, उसने रास्ता रोको गया. You have to go there, deal with them on field. Are you getting this? So any kind of problem, you have to go on field. To inspect different works, you have to go on field. So there is something called on-field duty as well. Field inspections, right? Then crisis management. अभी मैंने example बता दिया आपको. Crisis management, right? People are protesting. There is some kind of mishap somewhere, right? Some kind of pattern in terms of crimes. for IPS officers, right? कहीं पे accident हुआ तो उनको जाना पड़ता है. If the matter is very serious, they have to rush there, right? So crisis management for the government is done by एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. तो जंतर मंतर पे जो चल रहा था, पुलिस क्या कर रही थी? पुलिस वो कर रही जो गवर्नमेंट बोल रहा था, हैंडल द क्राइसिस, राइट? आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू दैट टॉपिक, राइट, वेयर देयर विल बी डिफरेंट ओपिनियंस. पुलिस ने जो किया, सही किया, गलत किया, कोर्ट इज टू डिसाइड. कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगा, कोर्ट विल डिसाइड, राइट? तो वो हमारा अधिकार नहीं है, कोर्ट का अधिकार, राइट? बट द पॉइंट इज, आप वहां पे फ्रंट पे हो, यू आर राइट इन द मिडल ऑफ क्राइसिस, right? And you have to handle it. You are given some powers, right? But what is to be done is to be decided by you on that place in that moment, and you'll be held accountable for what you do as well. ये जो सवाल पूछे जा रहे हैं ना, पुलिस ने ऐसा क्यों किया, क्या है ये? अकाउंटेबिलिटी. What is it? Accountability. You cannot do whatever you want. You have to do what you do in the framework of constitution, laws, rules and regulations. You cannot cross it. Getting this? So that comes in crisis management, right? A lot of other things come in. I'm just trying to explain each and every work briefly, because if I start talking about one point for a longer duration of time, तो lecture unending हो जाएगा. Reviewing government schemes. Implementation is one thing, other is review. So for example, that scheme came to me, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. In my district, I completed the construction of toilets. What is review? Go visit the field, inspect. टॉयलेट हुए हैं तो कंप्लीट हुए हैं क्या? टॉयलेट कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ है सर, रिपोर्ट आ गया. गया तो देखा दरवाजा ही नहीं उसको. You are laughing, but these are serious matters, huh? At some point of time, you need to look at all these things very seriously and get rid of this as early as. मैं आपको ताने नहीं मार रहा हूं, इससे बाहर निकलो as early as possible, right? All these are serious problems. ओपन ग्राउंड पे टॉयलेट करना, आप हंसते हो, ये नहीं. उसका सीरियसनेस क्या है? It is major source of diseases. Excreta is part of our bodily function, right? Grow up. You need to grow up, right? Number of things we discuss, and at that time you have to be serious. Serious मतलब ये कि आप उसको मजाक ना बनाओ. मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं कि आप हमें सीरियस रहो, that is not the case, right? But whenever we are talking about some serious matters, you must look at it as a problem. That problem solving kind of outlook has to be there, right? So doors नहीं है, doors से flush काम नहीं कर रहा. Review, identify problems and go for the next policy or improvement in the policy. Are you getting this? So you decided to construct some 1000 toilets, and then you realize after reviewing that 1000 sufficient नहीं है. Feedback दे दो गवर्नमेंट को कि सर 1000 sufficient नहीं है, in my district we need some 500 more toilets. तो मिनिस्टर कंसिडर करेगा, अप्रूव करेगा, कुछ फंड्स अलॉट करेगा, you can go for that improvement. So reviewing government schemes, right? Decision making and coordination of different departments. I talked about this, right? There is health department, there is education department, there is department dealing with stray cattle, right? Animals, departments dealing with health, department dealing with disasters, right? Department dealing with law and order. So there are a number of departments under you. Public works, right? Irrigation for that matter, agricultural department. There are a number of departments. उसको coordinate करना पड़ेगा आप. You need to coordinate. कैसे? The government decided to provide irrigation to what? Farmers, right? They decided to go for canals. ठीक है, canals बना लिए, पानी बह रहा है और फार्मर चिल्ला रहा है. There is no electricity. वो कैनल को देखते बैठो क्या? पानी जा रहा है, मेरा पंप काम नहीं कर रहा, तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? You have to get hold of MSAB. What is the problem? So even though scheme is regarding irrigation department, there are other things involved, right? Are you getting this? You can take any example. चलो इसी का example लेते हैं. स्वच्छ भारत अभियान. I told you one problem is habits of people. How do we change it? आपको उस डिपार्टमेंट को पकड़ना पड़ेगा जो PR हैंडल करता है, पब्लिक रिलेशंस, राइट? Do one thing. I want posters. I want paintings on public walls, जहां पे इन हैबिट्स के बारे में लोगों को एजुकेट किया जाएगा, राइट? Did any one of you watch that web series Panchayat? Yes, no? हाँ, दो बच्चे मीठी खीर, दो से ज्यादा बवासीर. That was being painted on the walls, right? That led to controversy in that web series. But you also must have come across many government kind of slogans on different walls. Even though the problem is regarding cleanliness, health, hygiene, there are other departments involved, right? So effective coordination of different departments under you is something that is very much your job in day-to-day administration, right? So a day in the life of an officer, this is one finite list of tasks, finite. There are other things, there are multiple other jobs, other tasks that you perform. इतना कुछ है ना? Okay, those of you who are thinking कि क्या है सर, इतना करना पड़ता है क्या? Okay, for you, I have an advice, right? There is a job, there are many such jobs rather, where you get up in the morning, you go to the office and you do that same thing throughout life. The job becomes boring. There are very few jobs which are interesting, right? Which are challenging, which fascinate you. So for example, आपका काम है क्लर्क, राइट? क्या करोगे दिन रात? डेटा एंट्री. आर यू गेटिंग दिस? रोज उठो, एक ही काम करो 20-25 साल. This is one job which is very fascinating. Every day is different. Every day is interesting if you make it interesting. Are you getting this? So इसको ऐसे मत देखना कि कितना काम करना पड़ता है. There are multiple types of jobs, works that you do in a particular job, which is called public service, and that's why it becomes very fascinating. And you do that with a lot of power, prestige. That is altogether some kind of add-on to the job, right? Cherry on the cake, right? एक very interesting slide है मेरे पास. Sometimes pictures speak volumes than words, right? आप चाहे जितना बोलो, कभी कभी ना कुछ दिखाने से काम हो जाता है, right? Look at the topic of this slide. Officers as leaders and change makers. Do I need to say anything after showing this? But मैं बोलूंगा. काम ही वही है. That is my work, right? ऐसे तो हो नहीं सकता कि इधर बैठूंगा, ध्यान लगा रहा हूं, मेरे ध्यान से इसको जो मिला ले लो. That I cannot do, right? I have picked up 3 personalities, right? 2 are IAS, 1 is IPS. And right now, the name that is making news in Maharashtra is, oh, see this. How many IAS officers are there in Maharashtra? A number of them. कितने लोगों का नाम है? That's why I said, wait. That's why I said, you don't look for becoming only IAS officer. Aspire for that IAS officer who is a name even after working in the service. नाम होता है लोगों का जब लिस्ट में आता है, फिर लोग बोलते हैं. And I have picked up this person for some special reasons, right? Do you know this person passed examination in his last attempt at the age of 30? That's why I said, whether you become IAS at 21 or 30, doesn't matter. What matters is what you do after becoming IAS officer. Do not restrict yourself with that dream of becoming IAS officer. That is very, very short and low aim, right? I know it's an achievement, but it's a stepping stone. It's not the ultimate objective that you want, that you shouldn't want, right? The ultimate objective is to serve people. And those are remembered who serve people, right? और जो करप्ट है वो चाहे जितना कुछ बोले लोग जानते हैं. And even though people respect them on their face, what they say behind them, you know it very well. If there are few IAS officers who command respect outright, right, in front, behind them, these are few of them. There are many others. मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं कि इतनी है, स्लाइड में जगह नहीं थी. There are few IAS officers, IPS officers, number of other officers in different services who are doing their job effectively, right? इनको जानते हो क्या? अशोक खेमका, इनका ऑल इंडिया रिकॉर्ड है किस चीज का? ट्रांसफर्स. हरियाणा कैडर, he has all India record all time number of transfers. And when you say number of transfers, you feel like हाँ ठीक है ना नहीं. Imagine this, every time not only you, your family has to suffer. बैग्स रेडी रखने पड़ते हैं, ऐसे कौन जीता लाइफ में? But they are doing it for the sake of people. They could have done what others do, right? But these are very different examples, right? Now imagine this person, right? And I have picked up this photograph deliberately because every time he is seen like this in action, वो क्या होता है ना, इस इंसान को जिस डिपार्टमेंट में डाल दो, अचानक से डिपार्टमेंट काम करने लगता है. Suddenly department starts working, you know, and the government employees protest against him. डबल ड्यूटी लगा रहा है ना? अभी चल रहा है ना वो सब. हाँ, तो लाइफ में कभी किया ही नहीं आपने, थोड़ा करके देखो. ओके, ये मैं कोई बोस्टिंग नहीं कर रहा हूं, वो आई हैव सफर्ड, ये मेरा सफरिंग है. इन आईटी जॉब आई वर्क फॉर 30 लॉन्ग आवर्स विदाउट ए सिंगल ब्रेक इन घर जाना एंड ऑल दैट. 30 घंटे के लिए मैं ऑफिस में था, सनराइज सनसेट कुछ नहीं पता था, और ये लोग बोल रहे कि एक्स्ट्रा काम करवा रहे हैं. इन प्राइवेट सेक्टर एक्स्ट्रा वर्क इज रेगुलर. पीपल से दैट आईटी लोगों का अच्छा है 5 दिन का जॉब. अरे भाई, वीकेंड पे जाना पड़ता है, राइट? So we need to understand this. If you want to do something great, that requires a lot of effort on your part. But we are habitual to this kind of jobs, right? कुछ करो नहीं, जो working hours है उसमें टाइम पास करो, right? But these kind of people will make you work, right? Why people oppose his appointment to any department? Politicians, workers below him, except people, huh? Right? The kind of work that he is doing currently is something that is amazing. Okay, I'll tell you one thing. ये मैं जानता था पहले भी, because it's been 12 years now I'm talking about this, that in India no food is safe. आपको लगता होगा कि मैं अभी बात कर रहा हूं, मेरे पुराने स्टूडेंट से पूछ लो उनको, because I teach IR as well, international relations, right? एक बार क्या हुआ था, just an anecdote, one story to make you understand what I'm talking about, right? And I'm talking about this incident since 2014-15, right? We export mango to Europe, जानते हो, हापुस मैंगो particularly, right? Or in large number. And once a huge consignment जानते हो ना, that was to be sold in Europe was sent back by the Europe. Huge loss, right? We asked for the reason. They said one mango has got a blot. उन लाखों में से एक मैंगो के ऊपर एक दाग है. I know what you are thinking. बिना दाग का आम होता है क्या सर? The highest quality fruit is sold abroad, right? यूरोप जाता है वो, वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज. The second highest quality goes to other markets in Asia and other countries, right? The third category comes to our share with the tag of export quality. इसलिए कई बार when I go to buy fruits, जब भी export quality देखता हूं ना, मैं उसको बोलता हूं क्या है ये, बोलता है सर एक्सपोर्ट का है. तो इधर क्या कर रहा है? Because I know these things, right? Secondly, they are also careful about the amount of pesticide. They measure it, right? So whatever we eat in India is absolutely unsafe. There is no guarantee that you're eating something that is safe, right? And please understand this carefully. We don't have enough laboratories in different states to verify the quality of the content that is being sold. And that is what he was saying, he was trying to say. कि laboratories काम करो दिन रात, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मैं भी खड़ा रहूंगा. But people's health first. Now these people are protesting against him. I can understand his position, right? Because मेरे एक स्टूडेंट को पूछा था मैंने, when I come across these kind of things way back, मैंने उसको पूछा था कि क्या है ये, सही में हमारे पास कुछ laboratories है क्या to check? He said no sir. Across state, hardly एक आध laboratory in a district becomes difficult to check things, samples. Getting this? So my own opinion since long is, if you don't die of cancer in your life, you're lucky. In India, किसी को कैंसर हुआ, मुझे कुछ नहीं लगता उसका, नथिंग, आफ्टर हैविंग दिस नॉलेज। I say, oh, it's quite possible. How many of you know that in Punjab there is a cancer train? It is not named like that, but that train is used by the people for the sake of reaching to that town where there is cancer hospital. Because of indiscriminate use of pesticides after Green Revolution in Punjab, Haryana, the number of cancer cases skyrocketed. So he's fighting for that. And he's taking on everyone, subordinates, higher ups, everyone. It takes a lot of courage, right? No compromise on public health. तो मुझे सवाल ये आता है, अब तक एफडीए के कई सारे लोग कमिश्नर बने होंगे, राइट? दैट्स व्हाई सम पीपल स्टैंड आउट, राइट? ये जानने के बाद कि मार्केट में क्या क्या आ रहा है, वो अपने घर वालों को बोल सकते थे ना, ये बाहर का मत खाना, हम घर में बनाए खाएंगे, क्या लेके आना मैं डिसाइड करता हूं. ही इज वरीड अबाउट ऑल ऑफ अस, एंड यू गेट दैट सेटिस्फैक्शन व्हेन यू गो टू द बेड. वो जो नींद आती है ना रात को, इन तीनों, अब ये तो बेचारे नहीं रहे. ही सैक्रिफाइस्ड हिज लाइफ फॉर दिस कंट्री. आईपीएस है वैसे, इनके अकेले क्यों, मतलब देयर मेनी ऑफिसर्स हु became martyrs in that fight against 2611. मतलब राइट फ्रॉम द एटीएस चीफ हेमंत करकरे अप टू एक हवालदार ओम्बले, इन सभी के लाइफ प्रेशियस थे, राइट? ओम्बले का ऐसा है कि उनको फ्रंट पे रहना पड़ता है, इनको क्या जरूरत है, पीछे बैठकर कमांड कर सकते थे, राइट? नहीं, व्हाट डू यू थिंक? एटीएस चीफ अपने ऑफिस में बैठ करके वहां से कोऑर्डिनेट कर सकता है, डू यू नो दिस? वो खुद उतर गया रे बंदूक लेकर के, अब समझो इस बात को, और शहीद हो गया, राइट? There are few people who have done this, and that's why they stand out. वो एक डायलॉग है फिल्मी, लाइफ लंबी नहीं बड़ी होनी चाहिए. आप 100 साल जिए, कुछ नहीं किया लाइफ में, what kind of life it is, right? Bhagat Singh lived for 23 years. How many? And 100 years after his martyrdom, we still remember him, right? There are some people, right, who have done this. And this fellow, क्या नाम है उनका? Anybody? एटलीस्ट कोई तो याद रखता है. अशोक कामटे, हेमंत करकरे, सभी के फोटो यहाँ पे लगाना मुश्किल है, कुछ गिने चुने लिए मैंने. एंड दिस पर्सन वाज नोन फॉर दिस, टेकिंग ऑन द क्रिमिनल्स हेड ऑन. फिर वो क्रिमिनल पॉलिटिशियन भी है ना, डजंट मैटर, घर में घुस के देखूंगा. ये जो है ना, ये नहीं सोचते ये लोग कि प्रमोशन का क्या होगा, पॉलिटिशियन है. ये सभी लोग गढ़चिरौली भेजेंगे तो क्या वहां काम करेंगे? वो भी इंडियन लोग हैं, दे आर आल्सो इंडियन पीपल, राइट? सो दोज हु bring change in society. You become IAS and then you would get peace of mind. ऐसा नहीं है. The kind of peace of mind and satisfaction these people had in their life, they have in their lives, similar kind of peace of mind and satisfaction is there in the minds and hearts of Amte family. बाबा आमटे, उनकी वाइफ डॉक्टर प्रकाश आमटे, उनके भाई विकास आमटे, उनके वाइफ्स, ये कोई आईएएस ऑफिसर्स नहीं है, और ना ही उन्होंने हॉस्पिटल निकाल कर करोड़ों छापे, but they made change in the lives of people. And without fan in jungles, they could sleep peacefully. I hope you watched that movie, right, Dr. Prakash Amte? क्या करना चाहते हो लाइफ में? What would you like to do? It's not that you're supposed to become IAS always to do something good. It's wonderful to be IAS officer, IPS officer, right? That is one position from where you can bring a lot of change. But if not that, you can do a lot in your life. समझ में आ रहा है क्या आपको? So this is one career, right, which gives you power. Again, Prakash Amte and his entire family, Baba Amte and his entire family had to put in the entire lifelong struggle, then they earned the name. Here from day one, you are empowered to do something good in the lives of people, millions of people, right, who are dependent on government services. So look at this news. I deliberately picked up that news directly. Ashok Khemka had sought action in land deal cases over a year back. वो बोलते रहे लेकिन वो डिले हुआ. और ये वही खेमका है जिन्होंने रॉबर्ट वाड्रा को एक्सपोज किया था. Who is Robert Wada? husband of Priyanka Gandhi. I'm least bothered about political parties. Huh? Right? You make your choices. We have to vote. We vote, right? Based on policies, candidate, right? But do not be loyal to any political party. Why? You're not political worker. A voter cannot be loyal to any political party. The moment voter becomes loyal to a political party, the democracy is doomed. Because you'll be taken for granted. You'll be taken for granted. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? तुम्हें जो एग्जांपल दे रहे हो ना उसको कांग्रेस बीजेपी से जोड़ना मत. दोनों वैसे ही हैं, राइट? सेम वाइन इन डिफरेंट बॉटल्स. और वैसे एक बॉटल का वाइन दूसरे में जा रहा है. मैं उसमें नहीं जाना चाहता. समझे ना आप? एक बॉटल का वाइन सारे तो कांग्रेस वाले बीजेपी में चले गए. आप खेलते रहो कांग्रेस बीजेपी कांग्रेस. वो सभी मतलब मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा एक साथ में है. आप उनके पीछे पागल क्यों हो रहे हो? उनका करियर बना रहे वो लोग. और मेरा सिंपल सवाल है, रॉबर्ट वाड्रा करप्ट था अंडर कांग्रेस, तो सवाल कांग्रेस को जाएगा. लेकिन पिछले 12 साल में उसको अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ, ये सवाल किसको जाएगा? तो छोड़ो इनको, आप अपना काम करो. You focus on your work. I congratulate all of you that you have decided something in your life that is positive. That is something which can give you a chance, opportunity to do some kind of, bring some kind of change in lives of peoples like these people, right? लोग बोलते सपने बेच रहे हैं, तो क्या बेचे? पकोड़ा. यूथ को क्या दिखाना चाहिए? टेल मी. हमने इंसान कुछ ना कुछ बेचेगा लाइफ में. कुछ नहीं हुआ तो वड़ा पाव का ठेला लगाएगा, चाय बेचेगा. The kind of criticism about education system that I'm seeing these days, उसको छोड़ो. आपको ये नहीं बताऊं तो क्या बताऊं? What should I tell you? हाँ, I know that some 10 lakh students apply for this examination and most of them don't get through. Hardly 1,000 people, depending on number of positions. But in the process, they educate themselves. They become better citizens, better voters, educated kind of citizens of this country. And they'll do something good in their life. There's no doubt about that. At least criminal नहीं बनेंगे, negative चीजें नहीं करेंगे after educating themselves, right? And they're giving a chance to themselves to do something like this, right? So yes, officers as leaders and change makers, right? Please understand, ये 3 जो फोटो मैंने लिए हैं उसके अलावा बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं. There are others who are integral, they're honest, right? Lamplight में नहीं है, कई बार आते नहीं. They prefer not to come in lamplights many times, but there are many. It's not that I'm ignoring them. I just picked up those faces that you can identify with. कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, पता होता है तो इम्पैक्ट बड़ा होता है. That is the only option, only purpose behind this. Next, balancing power with responsibility, very important. The moment you are recruited and you're posted, you get authority. क्या मिलती है आपको? And the most important ingredient of authority is power. The most important ingredient of authority is power, right? And power has to come with responsibility. Otherwise, it is disaster. एक स्टेटमेंट है, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Unaccountable power goes corrupt. That is why authority comes with accountability. What kind of accountability it is? You can see it here, right? You are bound by constitutional values. What you do, right, would be tested on the values which are enshrined in the Constitution. You are holding constitutional position, जानते हो क्या? And that's why you must abide by the Constitution of India. That is one accountability. Second, integrity. I talked about that in detail, right? We should not waste more time on that. Corruption. And corruption is not always monetary. Corruption is not always monetary. There is intellectual corruption as well. So, as an IS officer, I'm targeting somebody. I'm monetarily clean, right? But I'm corrupt intellectually. I'm using my power for some personal motive, not monetary, but some other personal motive. Again, corrupt. And I'll tell you, intellectual corruption is more dangerous than monetary corruption. Difficult to identify, right? So integrity means what? Being absolutely honest to what you're doing, what you are supposed to do, right? Ethics. And this ethics is not some personal ethics. This ethics is not some religious ethics. This ethics is constitutional ethics. चलो मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूं, ठीक? कॉन्ट्रोवर्शियल टॉपिक है, पे अटेंशन, पूरा सुनो. Suppose I'm posted in UP, Uttar Pradesh, right? And there is a beef ban का law. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? And my personal opinion is, कौन क्या खाना चाहता है गवर्नमेंट ने डिसाइड नहीं करना चाहिए. ये मेरा पर्सनल ओपिनियन है, एग्जांपल के तौर पर, राइट? और देयर आर मेनी पीपल अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड हु ईट नॉन वेजिटेरियन फूड. और अगर ऐसा करेंगे कि ये होली है, ये अनहोली है, तो मच्छी खाना बंद कर दो, मच्छा अवतार था विष्णु का. इस तरह के आर्गुमेंट मेरे हैं, एग्जांपल के तौर पे, हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन. बट आई आईएएस ऑफिसर, आईपीएस ऑफिसर, मेरा एथिकल ड्यूटी क्या है? टू सी दैट द एक्ट इज इंप्लीमेंटेड. आर यू गेटिंग दिस? टू सी दैट द एक्ट इज इंप्लीमेंटेड. अगर मुझे बदलना है, उसको क्वेश्चन करना है, तो मुझे क्या बनना पड़ेगा? रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ द पीपल. माय एथिक्स इज लीगल एथिक्स, पर्सनल एथिक्स नहीं. गॉट द पॉइंट? So I cannot go about what I think. I have to do what is there in the law, what is there in the constitution. अब रही बात इसकी कि whether the law is constitutional or not, ये भी मेरा काम नहीं, वो जुडिशरी का काम. Courts will decide what is constitutional, what is not constitutional. Are you getting the personality that you're supposed to build? What are your personal opinions? उसको साइड में हटा करके, what is correct according to law? What is correct according to the constitutional values? And most importantly, what is in the interest of people? वो चीज जो लोगों के भले की है वो करना, right? So that is your ethics. So paper 4 is not about your personal ethics. It is about administrative ethics, and this is administrative ethics. Are you getting this? जब आपको पूछा जाता है what would you do in a particular situation, these kind of case studies come in paper 4. So do not try to answer that based on your personal kind of preferences. Answer that based on laws, based on constitution. Put yourself in that position of administrator who has to go by the legal constitutional framework, right? So this is very important. Lawful conduct and actions. All my behavior, my decisions, my actions must be according to law. Are you getting this? And that is what Tukaram Monday always says. उनको बोला जाता है कि arrogant है, politicians ऐसे बात नहीं करते. उनका एक आंसर है उसको. अब इसके ऊपर people may have different opinions. He said, मैं जो नहीं होता बोलता हूं. According to rules नहीं होता है तो नहीं होता है. If I say no, sir, I cannot do it. See, representatives are your masters, huh? Your servant. But if master is telling you something that is against the very rules because of which he has become master, so you can say no. And that is what he's doing. Right? So, lawful conduct actions, public interest. I told you, right? The most important guiding principle, guiding star of your all actions is because you are public servant. और इसका मतलब ये भी है, you are servant. After becoming IAS, IPS, people start behaving like what? Kings. That is the most hopeless attitude to have. मैं हमेशा ये कहानी बताता हूँ, कहानी नहीं है, रियल स्टोरी है. In every lecture, some people may think that YouTube पे आपने यही बोला था, इधर भी यही बोल रहे हो. ये 10 बार नहीं, 1000 बार बताना जरूरी है. For those who are aspiring for these jobs, right? Every year, one IAS batch comes out of what is called LBS, Lal Bahadur शास्त्री एकेडमी, राइट? मसूरी में जो है. तो हर साल वो ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट करने के बाद दैट एंटायर बैच, एक सेरेमनी होता है छोटा सा, जहां पे जनरली प्रेसिडेंट कम्स, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया, राइट? सो व्हेन प्रणब मुखर्जी वाज प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया, थोड़ी सी पुरानी स्टोरी है, ही केम देयर टू हैव अ टॉक विद द बडिंग IAS ऑफिसर हु आर गोइंग टू बी IAS ऑफिसर्स, राइट, आफ्टर कमिंग आउट ऑफ दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन. ही शेयर्ड one experience of his life. Pranab Mukherjee was in central politics since Indira Gandhi's time. At his very young age, वो काफी young थे तब minister बने थे, central minister, right? And he always felt that the officers who are working under him as his secretaries, right? They are elder to me. I am younger to them. I am minister. And more importantly, बस age नहीं, they have much more experience of governance than me. But I am sitting in my cabin. I ask them to come in, right? They are standing in front of me. I give them orders. ये सब वो नैरेट कर रहे थे उन बच्चों को. And then he said, I always felt awkward that I'm giving orders to them who are elderly to me, who have more experience, who are more wiser than me, right? I felt awkward. तो एक बार क्या है, अच्छे इंसान के लक्षण है ये सब. नहीं तो मंत्री बनाऊं मैं, तू कौन है? And you know such kind of people, right? You know, those who carry hopeless kind of arrogance everywhere, right? So वो अच्छे इंसान थे दिल से, उनको बुरा लगा तो उन्होंने एक बार he stopped that officer once, very senior. Somebody becomes secretary when you are near your retirement in your 50s, right? So he stopped him. He said, every time when I order you, I feel awkward that you are elderly to me, wiser than me, more experience of governance, right? तो मुझे वो awkward feel होता. The officer responded saying that, but sir, I don't feel awkward taking orders from you because you are not ordering me. Those thousands of people who elected you, they are ordering me and I am their servant. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? It's not about telling this in just LBS, right? It's about telling everyone. There are two sides of that real story. One is the administrator should know this, and even people should know that they are servants, and you must hold them accountable. हमारा एक स्टूडेंट है, बंगाल में काम कर रहा है, राइट? अभिजीत शेवाड़. एक बार उसने मुझे बोला कि उनके अलग अलग पोस्टिंग होता है. There are different postings, right? Once he came here, and we bring them sometimes in classroom to have a conversation with all of you, right? करेंगे कभी ना कभी. Once what he said, I'll tell you. I don't remember the names of the places where he was posted, right? But he said he was posted in one district where people treated him like king. झुकते थे, sir. He said सब वो बहुत बुरा लग रहा था कि क्या है ये सब, right? And then another posting there, people who stand in front of him will say, sir, क्या चल रहा है? ये काम क्यों नहीं हुआ? That is very felt good. That tells you a character, right? He said, sir, we are there to serve the public. Public should ask questions to us. They should not treat us like what? Some kind of king or zamindar or jagirdar. He said that feudal mindset has to go. अगर मैं ये बोलूंगा तो आप बोलोगे आप तो पद पे हो नहीं, आप तो बोलोगे. मैं उसकी बात कर रहा हूं जो पद पे है, वो बोल रहा है कि ये सही नहीं है. पहले केस में, जो दूसरे केस में वो सही है. So he has accepted that I'm public servant. I'm given power to serve public interest. ये अपने आप में लेकर के आओ, right from day one. Then your personality over 3 years, that's something that, you know, is an advantage that you carry. You have decided to start preparation early in your life. You have 3 years, right, to shape your personality. That is good enough time to build your personality based on the kind of thing that I'm sharing with you right now. So yes, authority comes with accountability, responsibility, right? What are the challenges? Yes, there are many challenges, and you know that very well, right? So working under immense pressure. Working under immense pressure. आपको क्या लगता है वो जो सुप्रीम ऑफ पुलिस खड़ा था उधर जंतर मंतर पे, वो प्रेशर कुकर में था? On one hand, there are thousands of people marching against you. On the other hand, authorities told you that they are not supposed to enter parliament premises. Purpose क्या है, क्या सही क्या गलत बाद में. Personal ethics नहीं, administrative ethics, right? Many a times you see certain things where you feel you are helpless, right? आपको क्या लगता होगा रे? Somebody is brutally raped, murdered. वो बच्ची अभी हुआ था ना एग्जाम्पल, यहाँ पे उसको अभी फांसी मिली. दैट केस हैंडल करने वाला पुलिस, उसको क्या लगता होगा बच्ची को देख करके, उसके डेड बॉडी को? Then you have to stand up and work, right? So that this thing do not happen again. There will be lots of challenges in your work. Public pressure, pressure from representatives, peer pressure, right? Departmental pressures. But that is the beauty of the work. आपको क्या लगता है एक्सेलेंस कब आता है? जब प्रेशर होता है. एक्सेलेंस कम्स आउट व्हेन देयर इज प्रेशर, राइट? बहुत सारी कहानियां हैं रे अलग अलग, राइट? मैं हमेशा ये बोलता हूं क्लास में, सचिन तेंदुलकर नाम का एक प्लेयर है, जानते हो क्या? राइट, द बेस्ट टेस्ट प्लेयर आफ्टर डॉन ब्रैडमन, लोग बोलते हैं, राइट? इंटरेस्टिंगली वो जब अपने लाइफ के आधे करियर में आया था ना, तब भी वॉज द बेस्ट अमंग ऑल टाइम ग्रेट्स, राइट? आपको पता है क्या, वेन एवर इंडिया वॉज सपोज टू बैट नेक्स्ट डे, वो रात को सो नहीं पाता था. Sachin Tendulkar, the person who was highest scorer in test matches, the person who had highest number of centuries under his belt, not able to sleep, right? And he used to come to bat after 2 wickets. तो रात भर मस्ती करता, टाइम पास करता, फिर सुबह जब मैच शुरू होता वो देखता क्या बॉल कैसे काम कर रहा है, बाउंस कितना है, स्विंग कितना है, टर्न कितना हो रहा है, कंडीशंस क्या है. एंड देन ही यूज्ड टू टेल हिज कलीग्स दैट आई वुड स्लीप ऑन अ टेबल इन द ड्रेसिंग रूम. जब एक विकेट जाएगा तो वेक मी अप. That made him work. That made him do best in his life. So this is blessing. Working under pressure takes best out of you, right? But it's a challenge, right? Managing limited resources. I told you, aspirations of people are unlimited, right? But resources at your disposal are limited. Somewhere you have to work with limited resources. That is one challenge, right? Handling conflicting stakeholder interest. ठीक है? आपके डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक हॉस्पिटल के ऊपर लोगों ने हमला कर दिया, डॉक्टर के ऊपर. पुणे में हुआ है कई बार. How do you handle it? Doctors are very important, but at the same time, people are important. Conflicting kind of interest. तो इसमें मजा है रे, right? Talk to them, hold discussions, right? What is their point of view, doctor's point of view? What is patient's point of view? What are the rules, regulations? What are the laws? And you would take a call based on that, right? Working in remote areas, कहीं गड़चुल ना भेज दे. सर आपको पता है क्या, नक्सलिज्म इज अ प्रॉब्लम, तो कम काम करना, फिर जाना सॉल्व कर. देश के लिए खतरा है सर, लेकिन मैं नहीं जाना चाहता उधर. वर्किंग इन रिमोट एरियाज, दैट इज वेयर द रियल वर्क इज, राइट? पूरे में क्या है, मॉल्स को हैंडल करना है क्या, मल्टीप्लेक्सेस को? yes, there is work here as well, I'm not denying that, but this is another important challenge, working in remote areas. Making difficult decisions during emergency. I talked about that movement that we saw recently. There are multiple other times, COVID-19 pandemic, इमरजेंसी है बट यू आर वर्किंग. आपको पता है कई सारे ऑफिसर्स मर गए बिकॉज दे कुडंट सिट बैक एट होम, राइट? वी हैड दैट लग्जरी टू सिट बैक एट होम, बट दे हैड टू वर्क इन द फील्ड, राइट? हैंडलिंग द इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन, राइट? Resilience, adaptability, continuous kind of learning. No job is of this kind these days. Once you learned and then you stopped, you work throughout the life. ये समय खत्म हो गया. Whether you are administrator, whether you are working in the industry, what kind of industry doesn't matter. Any kind of professional field, any kind of work that you do, continuous learning, that ability has to be there. And when situation arises in a particular way, you should adapt to it. Adapt करना मतलब अनुकूलन करना, उसके साथ जुड़ जाना, right? So that quality is very much required. And resilience, to stand there and deliver. Doesn't matter what comes in front of you, come what may. You be there, right? Your tenacity matters a lot, right? So these are challenges when you work as administrator, right? Throughout the lecture, I was talking about this, right? Do not prepare for examination alone. Prepare for the career. And that is where people like Tukaram Munde stand. कितने आए सवेरे, लोगों ने जुलूस निकाले इनके, media went to them, right? Their name came in the newspapers. बाद में क्या होता है? Where do they go? And the person who celebrates somebody's success, right? That very same person sometimes is arrested by ACB, Anti-Corruption Bureau, right? अच्छा लगता है क्या? So what should you aim for? Just passing the examination or prepare for the career? And I'm telling you, these two things are not different. They are one and the same. You read your syllabus, read current affairs for examination, and try to make part of your personality, and you are a better officer going forward. So do not prepare only for the examination. That has to be done, but go beyond it. Effective, ethical, impactful public servant. Having discussed 3 examples, I don't think this requires any kind of further explanation, right? So effective, the work that is assigned to you, you do it perfectly, right? Ethical, the work is done with administrative ethics, not by manipulations, right? And impactful, whatever work you are doing, that should go to improve the lives of people. eventually, right? Empathy. What is empathy? आप कोई भी एग्जांपल ले लो, right? For example, I never saw poverty in my life, right? I became IAS officer. फिर मैं कैसे फील करूंगा उसको? गरीब बन के? नहीं, उसकी जरूरत नहीं होती. There is something, a quality called empathy. To feel it without being that person, right? To imagine that, to have that kind of connect. If this is situation, if I would have been in that situation, what kind of problems I would have faced? Getting this? Right? That is called empathy, to empathize. And that quality is very much required in public servants. Otherwise, you won't be sensitive to needs of people, right? So empathy, leadership. This quality is very much needed, right? You must be a leader. To take lead, to get things coordinated, to make everyone work efficiently under you, to inspire the people who are subordinate to you. All these come under leadership. And you can inspire only when you have effective communication. Effective communication is required even in the examination, whether it is written communication or oral communication. Written in the mains examination, oral in personality test. But here in everyday work, you need communication. I must tell you, this is required everywhere, private job or public job, right? Then decision making. See, ultimately you have to make a decision. You cannot sit on it as a public servant. Kahin bhi, at any point of time, right or wrong, you have to make a decision. But please understand, if you go by rules and regulations, if you go by constitutional values, something that we discussed, more often than not, your decision is correct. Getting this? So decision making, teamwork. Administration is a huge kind of body. You have to work among all of them, and you have to get the work done from them as well. So you should be a team player, right? उसको लीडर नहीं बोलते, वो जो भाग रहे लोग पीछे रह गए, दैट इज कॉल्ड तुगलक, मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक. वो ऐसे आइडिया लेके आता, लोग समझते नहीं थे. लीडर के दोनों पैर लोगों से बाहर नहीं होने चाहिए, और लीडर लोगों के बीच में फंसा हुआ नहीं होना चाहिए. उसका एक पैर लोगों में और एक पैर उस डायरेक्शन में होना चाहिए, डायरेक्शन में उनको लेके जाना. गेटिंग दिस? So you should be a team player, right? And this is very important. All these things are based on this constitutional morality. It's not your personal morality. It's constitutional morality, right? And most importantly, service-oriented mindset. Service-oriented mindset. Bossing ka mindset nahi. Sir, I'm here to serve. If you have that kind of mindset, you are a fit person. If you don't have it, cultivate it. Gradually cultivate it, right? आप सर्व करना चाहते हो, और इससे बड़ा कुछ है नहीं लाइफ में. पता है कि मैं फंडे नहीं देना चाहता, यहाँ पे कोई अखंड हरिनाम सप्ताह नहीं शुरू करना चाहता, या फिर गुरु नानक का कोई मैसेज नहीं देना चाहता आपको, राइट? जीसस क्राइस्ट का मैसेज नहीं देना चाहता, लेकिन टू सर्व ह्यूमैनिटी, इससे बड़ा कुछ है नहीं. नथिंग मोर देन serving humanity, and that is your job if you go for this kind of career, right? So this is what means to prepare beyond examination. I talked about lots of things. Let me be little bit selfish. Right. These are few of the latest faces, right, from our academy, and this is infinite list. There are many. जिनके फोटोज में यहाँ पे लगा नहीं पाया, बहुत है. कितने लगाएंगे ना, तो पूरा स्लाइड उसी के ऊपर बन जाता, राइट? देयर आर मेनी हु आर सर्विंग, दे आर इन टच, एंड दे शेयर a lot of things, because of which we can share those experiences here, right? And few of them I think you know, maybe few of them you don't know, right? कुछ फेसेस है, ये तो बहुत बड़ा फेमस हो गया, अंसार, राइट? इसके बारे में फिर कोई बात करूंगा, how he used to prepare, what qualities he had. There are a number of other people, and most of them are from 3 years batch, by the way. Most of them are from 3 years batch. And this person, मंगेश, इसका तो सभी को पता है. ऑटो रिक्शा वाले का बेटा इस तरह से फेमस हो गया, और इसकी पेरेंट्स ना एक फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं, वर्कर्स, कमिंग फ्रॉम वेरी ऑर्डिनरी बैकग्राउंड. और इसका पता है क्या, मंगेश का, आई शुड टेल यू, he used to commit at least 10 to 12 grammatical mistakes in a single page. मेरे पास पेपर्स है उसके. मैं उसको बोलता, क्या लिख रहा है तू, खून कर रहा है अंग्रेजी का, है ना? But the best part was he used to improvise year after year. Mistakes went down, right? He worked on it when you get a feedback which is very bad, you shouldn't lose heart. You should work on it. So these are the kind of people, and they will come in this classroom at some point of time, right? We'll bring them to have an interaction with all of you, right? So most of them are from 3 years, right? You can see these faces. Janam is from 3 years. Vaibhav is serving as IPS officer. Snehal is serving, Snehal, Ansar, Adiba, Piyush, Saunke is in Bengal. ये दोनों बंगाल में हैं. Along with Abhijit Shivaji, जिसका बात कर रहा था. There are many people, right? So we have a long tradition of people serving. Even Divya was part of 3 years batch, who is serving as IFS officer now, right? So yes, it's infinite list. Generally, I end the lecture with thank you slide, but this time I decided to do something different. Let's work together, right, in this journey. Please understand, बैच खत्म होने के बाद हमारा रिश्ता शुरू होता है, खत्म नहीं होता. Because thereafter you will give attempts and you would need us more than what you need during the classroom. ये तो basic learning है. And then you would face lots of problems, and this journey would, I would say, take a pause only when you become an officer. उसके बाद we'll have relations in terms of what? Sharing the experiences, right? Okay, so let's begin together, and best of luck to all of you for a wonderful kind of journey that you have preferred. Thank you. Let's conclude this session.